Could you give the listeners some conceptual framework to understand what a power animal and a spirit guide is? A lot of people think that's just a bunch of made up bullshit, but you know, of course, people usually have negative opinions about things they don't understand, you know, and I've had patients who felt that way, but not one of them couldn't identify what their power animal was when I took them through the process. So how would you describe what a power animal and a spirit guide is, and if there's any differences in your concept between them, what are they?
I have around the room here 6 leather shields that have been painted to represent different animal spirit guides within me. One of the earliest ones, I was sitting in an alley, and there's a garbage can across from me, and there was a mouse that was asking me if he could go rummage in the garbage can. Then, about near the same time, I was in my driveway washing the car, and there was a tree sort of next to me, and there's a squirrel in the tree asking me to climb the tree to the higher level. What those 2 experiences really said to me when I looked at it metaphorically is there was that part of me that was rummaging in the garbage. That was the mouse. I was asking my person to rummage in the garbage, but there was the newer part of me that was climbing the tree to a higher spiritual level. So I think a soaring eagle is flying higher and higher and higher, and it really in some of my experiences, it was telling me to rise above certain conflicts. I had prostate cancer, and the eagle became a very important spirit guide at that, and the bear and the eagle. The eagle gave me the power to rise above my anxiety about the whole thing, and the bear gave me strength and nurturing strength to deal with the prostate cancer. So I think that each of the animals have an important message to you, and what that animal does really tells you something that's important to you. The coyote is another. That's a more recent spirit guide that I've had, but it always brings me conflict, things that it's trying to get me to laugh at. It's the trickster. It tries to trick me into letting go of some conflict and really moving beyond that. So I think the animals, when you really look at them, I mean, I think children so often, they grow up with animal stories, and the animal stories give you an image of what the animal is like. I mean, there's so many of the children's stories are centered around animals. And I think that's something that we begin with. But as we look at what the animal is trying to say, it really opens up new dimensions in terms of our imaginal understanding.
What I'm trying to help the listener discern and understand is, and hear your opinion on is, are they, in your opinion, are they beings that we imagine? Are they aspects of our own soul? Or do you think it's the spirit of the animal coming to us as a separate entity that wants to interact with us in some way?
Wow, that's a good one. Yes, I'd say it could be both, or either one of them. I think so often what's coming from our unconscious mind is reflected in our experience, and it's something coming from within us. But I think with these experiences, we reach a point of going beyond our unconscious mind to what I might call the universal mind, or the Jungian term collective unconscious, which there are those messages that come to us from beyond us. So I think that in our ecstatic trance groups, initially, it's usually a reflection of what's going on inside of you. some conflict, some issue that you're dealing with, and it's the spirit guide may be giving you suggestions that are alive within you. But then if you really, as you really grow with that, you'll start to discover that these answers are coming from outside of you. And so often an animal is a good avenue to look at that maybe from outside of you.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot on that. I actually did you might find this interesting on my YouTube channel. For those listening, it's youtube.com/Paul Chek, CHEK, that is, live, youtube.com/Paul Chek live. If you go on that YouTube channel that I just gave, Nick, and just search Paul Chek Power Animals and Spirit Guides, I put about a 90-minute presentation really breaking down what power animals and spirit guides are to help people understand that. But it's such a comprehensive presentation, it would be too much to get into, but I was just curious as to how you perceive them, which is, I love what you shared as well. I think there's a lot to that. One of the things, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, one thing that people, the whole idea of shape-shifting,
Yeah,
of becoming the animal.
I love that.
People in the site say, well, I didn't actually become the animal. But the fact is that I think in trance, you if you become an animal, it really does feel alive within you. It doesn't have to physically be there in the room with you, but or you, I mean, you're not going to grow antlers and be the animal that you're imagining, but the shape-shifting to become spiritually connected to the animal is so important.
Yeah, I think it helps us reconnect to our roots. And, you know, if you look at the structure of the nervous system, for example, you can study Paul MacLean's research on the triune mind and look at the structure of the brain, the reptilian, mammalian, and then neocortical systems. And then you can also look at the DNA. And what I've found through my own inner investigations is that what they call junk DNA is actually the history of all the evolution of species on the planet. And we carry the DNA connection, which is a cosmic antenna, a subtle energy antenna, so that we always have the psychic information, which to what Rupert Sheldrake would call the morphogenic fields, or the consciousness, the formative consciousness of all these animals and insects and everything on the planet. So that when we go into meditation, our soul can give us the message from the bear, or the message from the mouse, or the message from the eagle, or the message from the wolf, because we are actually the evolutionary tip of all of those species brought into one organism. So inside of us, the way I perceive it is we actually have the DNA link up to access the information fields where the intelligence of those beings resides, because we carry all of that within inside of us.
Very nice way of describing it. Yes.